Dope, 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 dope.
Dope, 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 dope.
You're dope.
You are too.
You're pretty dope.
You are too. You are too.
Cool. Yeah. So basically, I've always done music. I was just raised with, fortunately, my parents were just like super into art and creativity, and they like wanted all of us to be in it, and we expressed interest, so they like let us go into it full force. So I was always like in plays, and I was always like, I don't know, I was always in like musical choirs and stuff. But there was kind of like an early memory, one of my favorite memories that like really let me spark my, I don't know, my creative journey was I took guitar lessons when I was like in middle school, but it was with this guy, Rob, at a musical store. It was called Musica. So it was literally just a bunch of instruments on the wall. And so when I would go in to take the guitar lessons, I would express interest in like learning the banjo because it was on the wall, or learning the accordion. I would be like, I want to play this today. But he was so chill and open-minded, and he was like,
Oh, yeah.
cool, like you're paying me for the half hour, let's do whatever you want. Like
Absolutely.
who cares? So I would just play. He would just let me like take like a mini course in any instrument I wanted every week. And I feel like that was kind of like the early days where I like because I like, one of my main passions is producing the music. And I feel like that was when I was able to like really appreciate the differences in sound and like what moods each like instrument brings. And so having that freedom was really great, rather than just being like nailed to doing a piano lesson every week or nailed to doing just guitar. So it kind of also set me up to be a jack of all trades and master of none. But it was like, I would rather be able to like pick up sounds and be able to form as many sounds as possible, because that's what helps me with producing. But yeah, and then so when I was in high school, I knew from the beginning that I wanted to be some sort of artist. There was definitely some insecurities about it, but by the time I was like a sophomore in high school, I was like, fuck it, let's just do it. And I told my parents, I was like, I don't want to finish high school. I know that high school is not going to be helpful for my music career. It takes up so much of my day, and I can't teach myself how to produce music, and I want to do some sort of alternative program. And so there was this, my friend May, she did this alternative program with our local community college, and it was basically like you leave, get your GED by taking college classes. But it was so great for what I wanted to do, because instead of doing like a generic history class, I took a history of jazz class. Instead of taking a generic English class, I took a poetry and songwriting class, but I was still getting credit. And so I graduated. I didn't technically get a diploma, but I got a GED.
Yeah, my
and
siblings got one of those, like two of them.
It's super nice. It felt like a life hack. I was like, wow, I don't have to go to high school.
Isn't it genius? But it's interesting because like, you know, the system tells us that there's one way to do it, like go to high school, you know, deal with all the BS that's there, you know, and then you get out, you know, and that's your big senior prom moment. But then it's a life hack, and you figured out, oh, if I wanted to do music, I could have done it this way, you know.
Right.
Major
And
regrets right now.
anytime I tell people I did that, they were like, wait, I could have done that. And I was like, I guess I don't really know. Maybe
It
I
was
got
everywhere.
lucky with this program, but I'm sure it was everywhere.
Yeah.
But it's just, of course, harder to find. But yeah, so fortunately, when I was applying for colleges, like the new school accepted me, and it kind of made sense because like they're more of a liberal, open-minded college, so they didn't see me dropping out as like a bad thing. They saw it as like a cool and interesting thing. And it was great because all 30 credits I did for high school ended up transferring, so I ended up graduating a year early anyways, which was super sick.
There you go. And where
But
was home?
anyways.
I'm just curious, like what side of the US were you on?
I am from upstate New York, so it's like a 2.5 hour drive from the city.
Okay. So when you were a kid, did you go in all the time, like drive in? Sorry, Noel.
Not as
No, you're good.
much, not as much as like people would think, because it 2.5 hours is like, the train was kind of expensive. So, but we like for our 10th birthdays, mom would bring us here and we like did like tea time at the plaza. It was like so ridiculous. But yeah, it was really cute. But
Cute.
yeah, so then I had to basically apply for music college, and I had to submit like original songs because I wanted to go for producing and songwriting. But so I basically, like, I didn't really know how you go about that when I was so young. So my mom and I, we hired this guy named Robbie Bear to record some of my songs that I've written. And we got there basically, and we had already known him a little bit from previous stuff. And he was like, honestly, you could do this yourself. Like, how about you take the money you were going to spend on this one session, and I tell you what gear to buy, and just do it at home, basically. Which was super nice of him, of course. And like, that was like another big moment for me where I was like, oh, I could just produce at home. And like, so we just paid him 2 hours to like give me a little session of like how to do it at home, and he told me what gear to get. And so that was like a big moment for me where I was like, okay, yeah, that was when I started having a lot of fun with like layering my vocals in Logic X Pro, and like having fun with sounds and stuff.
Wow.
But yeah.
That's so crazy that, I mean, you're so brave, dude.
Thank you.
To have that like acknowledgement in high school sophomore year, and to just be like, this is what I want to do, and I have full faith, and I'm just gonna dive right in. Like, I literally am acknowledging that I want to pursue music, and I don't know, how old am I? Almost 25.
I don't know.
You're still
Enough.
a baby. You got time.
I know.
But
It's
that's
a
so
lie they
cool. I
tell
love
us.
it.